Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and DECA. It's great to see a full room. My name is Gerald Stevens. I'm the president of AM Lockport. Welcome, everyone. Very exciting today to have everybody here. Great to see new leaders. And part of leadership is public speaking. And you guys are pursuing that. And Jill and Kristen and Katie, maybe Eric, have all been helpful in helping you guys achieve those goals. So it's very exciting for us to have you here today. If we could all rise to do the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am told Abby has a few words of inspiration for us today. Would you like to come up, Abby? Say a few things for us. Round of applause, please.
I think the theme, A Year in Review, is very inspirational because it lets us reflect on the past. And as the saying goes, we don't learn by doing, we learn by reflecting on what we've already done. So.
Next week is our open house. I do want to make mention of that. So certainly Jill will come armed with goodies and it's been promoted pretty heavily. So hopefully we'll have some new members, potential new members as guests. So that's kind of exciting. Any announcements other than that at this moment that anybody has, just in case? Okay, great. At this point in the meeting, I typically will turn it over to the Toastmasters of the day. And we have two Toastmasters of the day, which is pretty cool. Griffin Adams and Bryce Jones. Turn on the left turn.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Griffin Adams, and I'm honored to be one of the Toastmasters for today's meeting.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Bryce Jones, and I'm very excited to be one of the Toastmasters for today's meeting. We would also like to welcome our youth leadership coordinators, Mrs. Badgerbach and Miss Katie Orr, and all of the AM Lockport Toastmasters.
Bryce and I would like to thank the original Toastmasters for today's meeting, Miss Jill Roaring, for letting us step in as Toastmasters today.
And with that being said, the theme for today's meeting is A Year in Review. Toastmasters has been a great experience every Tuesday and DECA period 2 for us. Toastmasters has benefited us in such our abilities to publicly speak and be more confident as a group of our peers.
We had some great moments in our Toastmasters while getting to know each other and getting to know our youth leadership coordinators. One of my favorite memories is our first meeting when Miss Orr brought in Halloween candy for all of us. We chose this theme because we think everyone can talk about at least one memory of our Toastmaster year. We will now call on our functionaries. Mr. Wordmaster, do you have a word for us today?
Mr. Toastmasters, the word of the day is auspicious. It is spelled A-U-S-P-I-C-I-O-U-S. It means future success or showing signs of improvement. Here it is used in the sentence. If you start a marathon by face planting, that is not an auspicious start to the race. I will keep track who uses it and report back to you when called upon to do so, Mr. Toastmasters.
Mr. Jester, do you have a jest for us today?
What do you call a cow with no legs? Legs. Ground beef.
Mr. Quotemaster, Mr. Quotemaster, do you have a quote for us today?
Mr. Toastmaster, do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. Oprah Winfrey. And Mr. Timer, please explain your job for us today.
Certainly, my job as timer today is to give everybody feedback and record everybody's time. We are nothing if not timely in our speech presentations, be it table topics, evaluations, or speakers. What you'll see if you're here is a card being lifted up, but I understand the timer's not here. So what I'll do is I'll change the background on a second screen, and it'll either be green, yellow, or red at the appropriate times. Green means you've qualified. Yellow means you're in the middle of that, and red means you're in the grace period to wrap it up. Also, while I'm up here, please make use of the mics. We are hybrid meetings, so if you scream out there, nobody can hear you. You have to come up to the microphone. There's another one in the back there. That's a directional mic. You need to speak kind of loud and directly into that one. Also, if you want to come out in front of the lectern today, you can do that. Take the microphone. As long as you stay on this little mat here, you're in the screen view, so people can see you properly. Additionally, we have a headset mic. If you want to walk around and really go crazy, we can mic you up with that. Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters.
Ms. Master, can you please tell us about your job today?
Mr. Toastmaster, as master today, I will keep track of our use of filler words and crunch words such as but, so, restarts, pregnant pauses, and any language that weakens our speech, and will report back to you at the end of meeting, Mr. Toastmaster.
Mr. Grammarian, can you please tell us about your job today?
Mr. Toastmasters, as grammarian today, I will listen carefully for colorful, descriptive, wonderful words and phrases that exemplify great uses of the English language, as well as poor uses, and report back to you at the end of the meeting when called upon, Mr. Toastmasters.
Mr. and Ms. General Evaluator, would you please tell us about your role today? Mr. General Evaluator.
Mr. Toastmasters, as general evaluator today, I will evaluate the Toastmaster, the evaluators, and the general tenor of the meeting when called upon to do so, Mr. Toastmaster.
We will now begin the table topics portion of our meeting. Fellow Toastmasters, please help me welcome up table topics masters for the day, Caden Kirschnack and Sincere Spencer.
All righty, do we have any volunteers? All right,
All right, George. All right. How has Toastmasters helped you grow as a person?
Toastmasters has helped me grow as a person by overall just making me more well-spoken, allowing me to construct my way of speaking in a different way, and honestly focus on what I'm saying more, take my time, and honestly just be a more well-spoken person. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do we have another volunteer? Eric. Really close to the same time. All right. What's your favorite part about Toastmasters?
Thank you very much, Mr. Table Topics Masters. The favorite part of Toastmasters, I've been with the club now for 7 years. The best part of Toastmasters is the Toastmaster speech competitions. We've had held so many Toastmaster competitions in this club. And what's best about it, I think it was 2019, I made it through up into the, I think it was the division or the district. I can't remember, but I made it that far in the competition because the thrill of it all is just getting up there and just speaking from your heart, your gut, and just telling what you are presenting, your feeling, what was deep in your heart of your speech. And then you're under pressure for time because you're looking at the audience, you're looking to where the timing is, and you're looking to hopefully move on to the next round. So those are one of my favorite moments of Toastmasters. Thank you.
All right, do we have any more volunteers? All right. You want to do it? You want to do it? All right, come on now, Dave. All right. What made you get into Toastmasters?
Oh. Mr. and Mr. Table Topics Master, a long time ago, Phil Russell discovered me. He knew me from high school. But he informed me that there was going to be a Toastmasters club that met at 7 a.m. on Thursday. At that time in Lockport's history, we had 3 different clubs. The other 2 were not convenient for me because I actually had a job then. And Phil said, we have a morning meeting. You can make that. And I said, yes, I can. And that's when another friend of Phil's and another gentleman that was thoroughly familiar with me said, Phil said to Larry, he said, do you think Dave will join? And Larry said, what's the club about? He said, well, it's about public speaking. You're supposed to be like giving heroin to a crackhead. So a lot of people live in fear of public speaking. I live in fear of not public speaking. It's a terrible moment. And this gentleman read my mind and he misread my hand signal. My hand signal was just call on anybody who want, young man. And here I am. But it's an excellent opportunity. I got my first A in my life out at NCCC. It was in public speaking. So I really enjoyed the public speaking class, and this is Public Speaking 101 that's gone on forever. I am a charter member of this organization. I've been a Toastmaster for over 40 years. And it only gets better because we enjoy seeing people make progress. Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
All right, I'm assuming there is no other volunteers, so I'll pick again. Mrs. Badgerbach, would you like to? All right. Would you recommend Toastmasters to some of your friends and family, and why?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I would recommend Toastmasters to anyone. I was thinking this morning about the opportunities that Toastmasters will bring to all of you and Mrs. DiTilio's class. You can go practically anywhere in the world and find a group of people like this to welcome you to their country or their city. Toastmasters is a big family. And I think that's one of the great gifts that we gave you this year, was to make you a part of that family. You will always be a Toastmaster, even if you don't study it anymore in your life, although I hope you do. Toastmasters is such a freeing, amazing set of skills to conquer in your life too, because a lot of you people will be, all of you people will be running our country in a very short time. And I'm happy about that because I've gotten to know you, and I trust you, and I think you're going to do a great job. But one of the things that Toastmasters will be able to give you is the ability to share your feelings and your ideas with any kind of audience and be convincing and change the world because you know how to express your ideas. What could be a better thing than that? So I recommend it to all people on the planet.
Thank you. That is all our questions, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Masters, for those great questions.
Mr. Timer, how did our speakers do?
Well, some mixed results today. Unfortunately, a couple of our participants did not speak to the minimum time. George at 27 seconds and Eric at 1:12. Did not make it even with the buffer. Dave Licata came in at 2:03 and Chris Badger-Bach at 1:49. So Dave and Chris are qualified time-wise. Mr. Toastmasters.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. Now, fellow Toastmasters, we will begin our speaking portion of the meeting.
Evaluating our first speaker today, Ezekiel Christoph, is Taylor Fiegel. Taylor, would you like to tell us about the speaker's objectives?
Mr. Toastmasters, today I will be evaluating Ezekiel Christoph and his speech on the value of perseverance and dedication. The objectives of his speech are to project his voice, maintain good eye contact, and present an engaging speech. Mr. Timer, his time is 5 to 7 minutes, Mr. Toastmasters.
Thank you. The name of Zeke's speech today is The Value of Perseverance and Dedication. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, please help me welcome up to the lectern, Ezekiel Christoph.
The value of perseverance and dedication. Anyone who knows me is probably done enough when I say this, but today I'm going to be talking about pole vault and how it taught me the value of perseverance and dedication. So long story short, looking at me, you can probably tell, not particularly athletically gifted. I'm not that good at most sports. So when I started track and field, I was a thrower. I threw heavy things far to is basically what I was doing. Not particularly far though. But I was varsity because there weren't many on the team at the time and because it was the COVID year. I kept on going, probably could have done better. But at one point or other, I realized I'm not gonna get far here. I'm not gonna be going sectionals, which is the level below states, or winning any NFL meets, which is our league meet, which we are champions of for the past 10 years. So I made a switch. I switched to pole vault because I thought I could get further there than I was going to get with throws. So at the start of the season, it looked like more of the same. I did not have an auspicious start to my outdoor season with a no height, which in short means I did not clear the minimum height in order to qualify for anything, which is not going to be a good sign for getting very far in the sport. So I made some changes. I did not want to be mediocre for the rest of my high school pole vault career, so I kept on working. I worked over the summer down at Starpoint, and there I learned some skills that improved my technique. I vaulted there every Tuesday and Thursday the entirety of the summer. That taught me a lot, got me a lot better. So that indoor season, I had a PR of 8.6, which is not very good. It did not qualify me for sectionals. It was better though than I had been doing. It means I won most of the freshman and sophomore meets that were happening at the time, which not great, but better than it was. So again, I spent more time working on it. I vaulted every chance I could. I vaulted as long as I could at practice, and I worked as hard as I could. So by that outdoor season, I was clearing 10 foot, which means I qualified for sectionals. And I wasn't great at sectionals. I was the first one out. And at NFLs, I did not score points for our team, which meant that we tied the league meet for the first time in 10 years. So that wasn't great. But again, I spent my rising junior summer working harder. I vaulted in Rochester, going to meets and competitions there. I vaulted again at Starpoint every Tuesday and Thursday. And I went to camps at UB, Buff State, places like that in order to improve my skills as best I could. So I kept on working, I gained experience, and by my junior indoor season, I was 4th in the section, and I was seeing a lot more improvement, but I was not where I needed to be still. Because 4th in the section sounds good until you were at the meet where I got 4th in the section. So I'm in a position now where I might score points for the league meet, I might not. But that's all to say that if you look at me, I am not what you would think of when you think of one of the best pole vaulters in the area or someone good at sports, period. But I got where I am now because of perseverance and dedication and making sure that even when I knew I wasn't particularly good at what I was doing, I was working hard, trying to do what I could, and try and keep on clearing heights until I had everything I needed. And that hard work opened up a lot of opportunities to me. It allowed me to go to meets that are in section 5, which is like 3 hours away. And it's opened more doors that have yet to be opened. D1 scholarships, stuff like that. Going to states, going nationals. That's stuff I haven't achieved yet, but that's what perseverance and dedication is going to bring to me. More opportunities like that. Thank you for your time. Okay.
Thank you, Zeke. That was a great speech.
Evaluating our second speaker today, George Wiley, is Ainsley Gorman. Ainsley, would you please tell us about the speaker's objectives?
Mr. Toastmasters, today I'll be evaluating George Riley's speech, My Business Life.
The objectives of his speech are to keep the audience engaged and interested and to limit his use of ahs and ums. His time, Mr. Timer, is 5 to 7 minutes. Mr. Toastmasters.
The name of George's speech today is My Business Life. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, please help me welcome up to the lectern, George Wiley V.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to start off my speech with a quote from John D. Rockefeller. And that quote is, "A friendship founded on business is better than a business founded on friendship." Now, this is a great value that I have learned through my DECA experience over these past 2 very short years of my freshman and sophomore year in DECA. If you don't already know, DECA is an association of marketing students that encourages the development of business and leadership skills through academic conferences and competitions. Last year, I didn't take DECA as serious. I knew it was something I'd like to do, but I didn't really go that far with it. I did the bare minimum, which was competed at the regional level with Taj. She was my partner, and we did a marketing, I think it was marketing competition. But we didn't go too far with that. But I got a little, I stuck my hand in the cookie jar a little bit with DECA. I got to test the waters. And at this time, I had already not started up. I've been about a year into my own business that I run myself, which is called Spray Lab. And I customize shoes and cleats and pretty much just make custom apparel for people. And I started this a little like into COVID, halfway through COVID. I always had a passion for art, and I enjoy clothing. I feel like fashion's a very important part of life. So it helps people express themselves. So I created this business for people to order custom apparel, sneakers, etc. This sophomore year in DECA, I was ready to take things to the next level. So I started out to do a module competition, which this time it is a written paper that you submit, a 10-page paper. And then you compete, you present the key metrics and main ideas of that paper to a judge. When you do this competition, you get to skip the regional level. So you go right to states with the graded paper. And on this competition, I decided to partner with one of our fellow Toastmasters here, Griffin Adams. And he really helped me throughout the way. And our business plan, we did a business startup plan, and our idea was to bring Spray Lab, my current business, and make it into a store. At this store, you'd be able to go and purchase shoes and get them customized. But we went to the states level, we competed, had a great time. I loved being with all of my friends, fellow DECA members, and we ended up advancing to the national level. When they called our name across the stage and we got handed that glass, you get a glass trophy. I probably should have brought it as a prop. That would have been nice. But we got handed that glass trophy, and it was like something, I've never experienced before. Adrenaline rushing throughout my body. We worked very hard for it, and we were ready to go to Orlando. I mean, that was the grand prize. That was what we've been working for. So we went to Orlando about 3 weeks later, after a ton of fundraising, it was 4 of us, me, Griffin, and 2 of our other friends, William and Jason. When that plane landed in Florida, I knew it was game time. I mean, I knew DECA was more than just a business club at that point. It was really a great experience, a once in a lifetime experience that you're never gonna get again. And I just knew everything we've worked for had paid off. Even though we haven't competed yet, we got there on a Friday and our competition wasn't until Sunday. But once that competition came, we were ready, no matter if we placed at nationals or what, we were ready. So as we walked in the room, the big conference room, there's 22,000 people at nationals. So it was a big room and there was a ton of people, a ton of new faces, new people from all across the country, even outside of the country that we get to meet and talk about business with. And overall, I just wanted to say that what I learned from DECA and nationals was that I was able to become independent at an early age and develop key characteristics of being a young entrepreneur, and also with Toastmasters, learning how to speak. And nationals is something I'll never forget. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Evaluating our third speaker today, Ms. Katie Orr, is Dr. Gerald Stevens. Dr. Stevens, would you like to tell us about the speaker's objectives today?
Absolutely. I'm excited to evaluate my fellow Toastmaster and friend, Katie Orr. She's going to work from the Persuasive Influence Path, Project 3. She's going to inspire her audience. Mr. Timer, 5 to 7 minutes is the speech length. And I believe you have the title, is that correct? All right. And he'll go ahead and introduce her formally.
The name of Ms. Orr's speech today is I Love My Work. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, please help me welcome up to the lectern, Miss Katie Orr.
I love my work. Who says that? Who really, really says that? I love my job. I love getting up every morning. I love all the hard things that has to do with my job. I'm sorry, even if you completely have a passion for what it is that you do, and I admire that, it's gonna be freaking work. It's gonna be work. Sometimes folks say, never work a day in your life if you find something you love. Look that quote up. Do you know who said it? Probably nobody. Confucius said it. Mark Twain said it. Abraham Lincoln said it. They all said it according to the internet. Don't go to the internet and trust everything. You know that already. I know that you know that. But I do love my work. I love my work. I've told you students in class that I work with the Red Cross. I run blood drives and I help people. I love that. Does that mean that I love every minute of every part of that job? When there are concerns, when there are issues? Of course not. I want to explain to you that that quote, find something you love and you'll never work a day in your life, is absolute baloney. Baloney. But can you find work that is meaningful? Yes. That has impact? Yes. That gives you work-life balance? Yes. Is it going to be easy? Probably freaking not. So what is the average? Some of you have been more paying attention to the average of statistics of how many careers you'll have in your lifetime. Back when Toastmasters was founded almost 150 years ago, nobody in this room was a member back then. Pretty sure. But back then, Perhaps. Back then, you might have a career for your entire life. Your parents maybe did, your grandparents maybe did, but that's not common. That's not common anymore. The average career quantity, you're probably going to have not just jobs. Jobs are like something you already have today, maybe a job working at the library, a job working at the Y, a job working at Wendy's. That's a job. It's not a career usually. It can be, nothing against it. Martin Luther King said something like, if you're a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper. If that's your lot in life, be that. Sweep the sweeps like Michelangelo painted paintings. Sweep and sweep like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Whatever your lot is in life, if you find joy in that, if you can make happiness out of that, you will be happy. Does it pay the bills always? It's hard to say. You've got to find what it is that inspires you. Every single person in this room, whether you're the youngest, whether you're been the retired the longest, is motivated by different things. Somebody in this room might say, I could run a company and I could sell sneakers and I can do this. And I'll say, well, that's great for you because I could never do that. And I think it's amazing. And I think that what we are offered in this country is the freedom and the flexibility to do that. You've got your teachers telling you what to do. You've got your parents telling you what to do. You've got to listen to yourself. You've got to listen to yourself. But that doesn't mean don't listen to those folks in your life. Listen to your other DECA friends. Listen to Toastmasters. Like Ms. Badger-Bach said, go visit other Toastmasters clubs. There's ones online. There's ones in person. Anywhere you go, meet people. What I admire about watching you as DECA students is from the time you join to the time you graduate the DECA class, how much you grow. And everyone's on a different path. And everyone has grown. Everyone's in a different place. You maybe don't like getting up in the morning. I'm not a morning person. I hate being here at 7 a.m. I'll tell you what, but is it inspiring to pull into the parking lot and see 200 cars and folks who are here and say, okay, I can do this. Is it easy? Not necessarily, not necessarily. I just want you to remember that you're not necessarily gonna love everything you do every day. And also be careful. If you decide that what you love is creating ceramics or what you love is working with animals, that's great. But will you still love it when it's your meal ticket? Will you find that passion? Will you love it so much? You got to decide. All right, if I have this as a career, maybe it's turning something that I love into drudgery, working with animals or working with art or whatever it is. So you've got to keep trying, you got to keep pushing, you got to keep finding balance and looking for that balance. Do I love my work? Yes. Yes, I love my work, but it took me a long time to find that balance. And maybe I'll stay with the Red Cross for the rest of my career. Statistics would say probably not, but maybe. I'm so pleased that you are all here today and that we're learning from you. I admire every class that's come through DECA. Maybe it's just because I've been more involved with you, but you're my favorite so far. So keep that in your minds. We love you so much. We're grateful that you teach us as much as maybe we teach you. And I can't wait to see what you all do in your futures. Super excited for you all. Thank you very much. Mr. Toastmasters.
Thank you, Miss Katie Orr. I think I could say that you definitely inspired me.
Mr. Timer, how did our speakers do today?
Before I get to times, I like to applaud the speakers for coming up here and being brave and giving out speeches because that's something that not everybody can do. So I applaud y'all for that. George made time with a time of 6 minutes and 4 seconds. Miss Orr made a time with a time of 5 minutes, 25 seconds. And Zeke did not make time with 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, we'll now be moving towards our evaluation portion of the meeting.
And just a quick reminder, do not forget to fill out your ballots and brief evaluation cards down at the bottom. You can fill out what the best evaluator is, best speaker, second, and most improved. So just make sure you fill those out. Fellow Toastmasters, please help me in welcoming up our first evaluator, Taylor Fiegel, evaluating Ezekiel Christoph's speech.
I'd like to say, Zeke, you had a great speech. You had really good vocal projection, variety, and enthusiasm. You really you brought humor and personal experience off, and starting off with like a freshman when you were throwing it, like you made everyone laugh, and it was great. You had good eye contact. Maybe like don't flip the pages as much next time, because I saw you got a little jumbled up there, but you fixed it, so that was good. You kept your hands on the lectern instead of like moving them around, because the lectern here is like covers up. You can't really see it in the back, your gestures as much, but that was still good. You were very confident. Like no one could tell if you were nervous or not, and you really had like really good body language up here, so that was nice. You had a lot of stories lined up about your personal track experience, but I think you could have used the prop, Zeke. Could have brought your varsity jacket in and showed everyone your sectional patches. I liked how you started off your story with from being a freshman throwing and then moving into pole vaulting, and your personal experience with your perseverance and dedication. It really showed everyone what kind of person you are and the character that you have. My favorite part of your speech was just like how you showed everyone like what you went through in track and how you found your goal and what you're working towards. I would say that you could try to extend your speech next time so you can make time, and maybe practice the night before more so you could come up with an extra story to make sure that you made time. But overall, I thought it was an amazing speech, and I think everyone here enjoyed it, and it showed everyone the value of your perseverance and dedication.
We will now be moving on to our second evaluation. Fellow Toastmasters, please help me welcoming up our second evaluator, Ainsley Gorman, evaluating George Wiley V's speech.
The story, I just want to say that George should be really proud of himself for all that he's accomplished at 16 years old. You're very good with selling your hoodies, and you make, like, I don't know, every time I go to school, I see someone new wearing your hoodie. So I just want to say you should be proud of yourself for that, because that's not something everyone can do, and you really have to like be in the business to be able to do that at such a young age. I think your speech was really good. You paused at the start, which definitely got people's attention. I think Mrs. Orr taught us that at Toastmasters. I don't know if you remember that, but that's what it reminded me of. And you also used a quote, which really just helped set out like the layup of your speech. You did smack your lips a little bit. I remember you did that last time too, but I don't know if you do when you're nervous, but there was like a decent amount of time where you were like smack your lips. You also rocked your body a bit when you're up here. You'd like go like this. I think if you just use like more hand gestures, it might have stopped it. But you did a really good timeline of your speech, going from like your freshman year starting deck and how you didn't take it seriously to nationals with Griffin, where you took it more seriously and like actually like tried to like win and be more involved in it. So I think that was really good. And you also explained Spray Lab really well, because I know a lot of people here don't know what it is, but the way you explained it, you really just set it up and like made it easy for people to understand. And you could also tell how passionate you were about your speech, which I really like. You talked about the adrenaline when you got your trophy. And I think that was like a really good part to put in, because it showed how passionate and like really involved in Spray Lab and DECA that you are. And you made time, which was good. And I think your future for Spray Lab is going to be auspicious. I don't know if I used that right, but it's there. But overall, I think your speech was really good. Yeah.
Thank you, Ainsley.
Fellow Toastmasters, please help me welcome up our third evaluator, Dr. Gerald Stevens, evaluating Miss Katie Orr's speech.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and our DECA crew. Very excited again to be up here to talk to you. And very excited to evaluate Katie. She had a very auspicious start to her speech today. She started off with something we can all identify. Work. And you guys are going to be getting careers here soon. So her topic was very audience appropriate. And also the folks in the audience that are already working were definitely nodding. In the audience are like, yeah, we agree with that. It's not all fun. Oh boy, yeah, well, I can talk about stories about this forever. So we all could identify with that. So if you have a speech people can identify with, that's very important. So you have their attention. Topic appropriate. She used 2 quotes. Sometimes tough to remember quotes. And you notice she didn't have any notes. So good job there, remembering the quotes. Sometimes you get in front of an audience and you might pause and be like, oh, I had that quote in my speech. Oh my God, I forgot it. But she didn't. She had it right in her mind. And it was a great job using those. She was out from the lectern. She mixed in laughter and humor. Excellent quality. Eric mentioned contests. And the fellow Toastmasters here that have been in contests, I would say the majority of ones that win do mix in humor. You know, they have the motivational speaking that can be you could be the best speaker in the world, literally. And I promise you, if you listen to some of those speeches online, majority of them do have some humor mixed in. So that draws in the audience as well. She projected very well. You had no trouble hearing her, did you? No, not at all. Enthusiasm. Need to have enthusiasm in your speech, right? She was very enthusiastic today. Again, keeps people awake, right? If you throw some enthusiasm in there. Otherwise, if you're just droning on and on and on, I'm sure you have some teachers in school that do that, not Miss Jill, of course. Then you're probably falling asleep. You're not doing that with Katie. So awesome job. But as a Toastmaster, I do need to recommend some improvement. I had to really dig deep for this one. She did not focus on the online audience. She was looking around the room really well, but didn't focus on the online folks. Do have a few out there, which I may ask for some input at the end to include them. Heads up. And she did not use a headset. That's often my fatal flaw. So just 2 pointers. Did she inspire you today? Yes, yes, she did. Excellent food for thought, had an excellent conclusion. Gestures were good. If she had the lavalier headset, she could use her other hand to improve her gestures. And she had a real nice conclusion at the end. So I was very happy overall with everything. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. Mr. Timer, how did our evaluators do?
Taylor did not make time with a time of 1:42. Ainsley did not make time with a time of 1:43. And Dr. Gerald Stevens made time with a time of 3:09.
Thank you, Mr. Timer.
Mr. Wordmaster, how did our word of the day do today?
Mr. Toastmaster, Mr. Toastmasters, our word of the day did not do as good as expected. Ezekiel Christoph used it once, Ainsley used it once, and Dr. Gerald Stevens used it once. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wordmaster. Ms. Master, how did we do today?
Mr. Toastmasters, we had a great meeting. Our table topics all were under 5. Our speakers, Ezekiel and Miss Katie Orr were under 5. George, sadly, with 5, but still good. And then our evaluators, all under 5 as well. So a great meeting.
Mr. Grammarian, how did we do today?
All right, so, sorry. Oh my God. I'm not a very good grammatical person myself, apparently. So George started off with Toastmasters in the table topics portion with saying, construct my way of speaking in a phrase. I thought that was very well said. And then many well-phrased questions by the table topics masters themselves. Dave said, used back and forth dialogue between him and the person who he was talking about in his table topics portion of speaking. And then Zeke said the word perseverance, right, Zeke? I believe you said that a couple times. So that was a very nice word. And then he used the word of a day, auspicious, which was also a very amazing word for grammar wise. And then he used the phrase, and I quote, keep on clearing heights till I had everything I needed. And then George in his speech used an amazing quote by, can't remember, Rockefeller. Thank you. Maybe you should be paying attention. And then he used the phrase, I stuck my hand in a cookie jar, which was amazing. And then Katie used making you love something and then in treachery. So making you love into treachery. Making something you love into treachery. Sorry, I can't say it right.
Thank you, Mr. Grammarian. We'll now move into our general evaluation portion of the meeting. Please help me welcome up to the lectern our general evaluators for today, Jack Fogel and Olivia Lamiro.
Okay. So I think the meeting went really well today. Definitely an improvement from our first meeting. Our evaluators, Ainsley, you did really good. You touched on a lot of points. So did you, Taylor. All of our evaluators did today, really. And it was just a really good meeting. Everyone spoke really well. Our table topics were really good questions and really good answers. And yeah.
All right, I think I just have something to say about our evaluators, starting off with Taylor. She had very good tips to tell Zeke how he could improve on his speech skills. I didn't really get much for Ainsley, just good tips again. And Dr. Stevens, you had a very good way to identify the ways Miss Orr can. She did good. You also did very good on how to tell her how she can improve a little bit more. And I think that was very good. I think that's pretty much it. It was a very good meeting.
All right, we have all of our results for the ballot. Our best evaluated today was Ainsley Gorman.
Our voted best speaker, George Wiley V.
Now we'll do our best table topic speaker, Miss Badgerbach. And I know Miss Badgerbach loves speaking at the end, so would you like to come up, say a few words? All right, please help me welcome up to the lectern, Miss Badgerbach.
The hardest part of Toastmasters for me is not crying. Fabulous meeting, as always. It's been such a thrill to work with all of you this year. We have some certificates. And I think this is going to go a long way in everyone's resume. When people learn that you have studied the skills of being a Toastmaster, they'll be very impressed. And that you know how to run a meeting and evaluate people as a coach. They're going to be thrilled to have you on their team. So I'd like to hand out these certificates. And the first person is Griffin Adams. And Taylor Beagle. Congratulations. Jack Fogel. Congratulations. And Kyle Glenna. Congratulations. Ainsley Gorman. Victor Irizarry. Congratulations. Bryce Jones. Congratulations. Jillian Nutilla. I hope I said your name correctly. Did I? Say it again. Canoodla. Jillian Canoodla. Never gonna forget. Caden Krishnak. Ezekiel Kristoff. I loved your speech. He's so great. Olivia Liermo. Hunter Lilly. Dominic Noonan. Abigail Shortridge. Sincere Spencer. George Wiley the fifth. And Taj Young. I'd just like to say a quick word about Jill DiTilio. I've been thinking about you this morning too. And how you have everything I've ever brought to your class. You have embraced, you've made it your own. And if I dropped dead, it wouldn't have mattered because you knew everything you needed to know to carry on. And I admire that so much about you. You're somebody that embraces opportunities. And I think you're such a great model for these kids.
Thank you, Mrs. Badgerbach. And we just want to say thank you to our youth leadership coordinators for always working with us and like your dedication with everything. I think we've definitely improved throughout the year a lot. So we got a few gifts for you guys. So I'd like to call Mrs. Orr. We got a gift for you.
This one's missing. Yeah. And then our second gift, of course, going to Mrs. Badgerbach.
Again, we just want to say thank you for everything. You've really been an inspiration to all of us.
I didn't know, I thought there was a name in there.
All right, the $1 million cash prize is 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 9. George Wiley the fifth.
Is that real?
That's real. That's
Oh,
real.
thank God.
You like to say something? Okay. We would like to welcome back Dr. Gerald Stevens to say a few more words.
Thank you, everybody that participated today. And you guys did an excellent meeting. Well run. Speeches were amazing. I do have a few personal things to say. One for Zeke. Perseverance. Holy, that's what you need. You can outcompete people just by working hard. And that's a good lesson for all of us to learn. The hardest worker in the room. That Rock, I saw the Rock one time wearing that t-shirt when he was working out. He's one of my personal favorites. So if you are that, you will go far in life. Miss Fiegel, are you related to Megan Fiegel? No, okay. It was worth a try. She lives in Lockport too. I do have a few announcements, and I will ask a few things from the online folks to see what they thought of the meeting as well, just to include them. We do have the elections just at the beginning of the meeting next week. We'll do that real quick, and then we'll have our open house. The officer induction will be the following week. Tom will help me with that. That should be a special meeting, so definitely the officers attend in person because we're gonna have to get some pictures there. I got some things special planned. Next week, our Toastmaster is Katie Orr. Do you have a theme by chance at this point? Okay. I will be a speaker. Margot Bittner will be a speaker, and Phil Russell. 3 distinguished Toastmasters. So you guys probably know what a distinguished Toastmaster is. The highest rank in Toastmasters. Our club has what, 9 or 10 maybe? Yeah, thereabouts. So we do have quite a few of them. So they would definitely be good. And alternate speaker is Steve Smith, just in case someone can't make it. So he'll be prepared, I'm sure, as well. From the online crowd, David Jones, what did you think of the meeting?
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm coming to you from Charlotte, North Carolina. And to be honest, I had never heard of DECA. Now, some of you know I am the incoming club growth director here in North Carolina. And I looked up DECA, and we only have 6 chapters and 77 members in North Carolina. So I think children are our future, not just socially, but also in Toastmasters. So I'm definitely going to reach out to them and see how we can engage here in North Carolina, because I think it's an important group, and the collaboration with Toastmasters is one we need to continue. So I'm glad I came to this meeting and learned from everybody involved. Thank you, Mr. President.
And retired teacher Beth Banks, what do you think of everything today?
I do apologize first for not being there in person. This foot surgery and complications has really set me off here. I do want to thank the DECA students. As the director of the Celtic Festival, I know a number of you came and volunteered this past year. I really appreciate that. So thank you very much. I'm so impressed with the way you ran the meeting, all of your speeches, table topics. It was a great job. I would like to add one personal note. I did, as a retired teacher from Newfane Middle School, yes, Griffin, I had the pleasure of working with both of your parents. And I remember the day you were born. I remember you as a toddler. So I do want to say congratulations, and I'm sure they are so proud of you. Have a great day, guys.
Any other comments from the crowd? We do have 1, 2, Len first.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple quick announcements. We do record all of these meetings and they get posted to YouTube. I'll send a link to Jill and she can forward it to all you guys if you want to critique yourself or your fellow classmates. Also, a shout out to 2 of your classmates who are not here, Cole Smith and James Weaver. Those 2 have been selected to play in the Kensington Lions All-Star High School Football Classic, the 47th annual game. It'll be on July 28th at Buff State College. We get the best players, basically seniors before they head off to college or careers, assemble a North-South team, and they will be representing the Lockport Lions on that game. So congratulations to them. If you see Cole or James in the hallway, just give them a fist bump, okay?
Eric Schneider has a few comments.
First off, Len is university now. I just had to do that. It felt good. I just want to give my take on today's meeting. I think there was a very fantastic, well-oiled machine run meeting today. Don't you think, guys? Let's give them a round of applause again. Great job, guys. In all the years I've been doing Toastmasters and helping out with Joe and Chris, I think this was the best meeting of all the meetings I've helped with the students over the years. This was very, very good. And I think you guys deserve yourselves a round of applause for doing such a wonderful job, and really take Toastmasters in your future careers, because this will definitely be a stepping stone or a helpful tool in your career, and definitely on a resume. So congratulations on a wonderful meeting, a wonderful year, and hope to see you guys back here as a member in the future. And I know Dave will see to that, right, Dave? So congratulations again, and good luck, and thank you.
Apparently, we have a follow-up comment from Dave. We have a lot of comments, which is great. We have time today. Works out. You want the mic? There you go.
I don't wish to embarrass Eric, but the first time that he went back to Lockport High to help out with DECA, they caught him without a hall pass, and he had detention all week. But he still persevered and came back to help out. Gentlemen, my Toastmaster friends, I want to salute you for reminding us Toastmasters, veteran Toastmasters, DTMs, how to guard the lectern. You were terrific. They were terrific guarding the lectern. They waited for the people to come up. They shook their hands. And sometimes we forget that. And you're going to notice now when you go to different meetings and different occasions, you're going to immediately know who's not a Toastmaster. I'd like to introduce Charlie. And Charlie walks up there without applause. The person headed towards the lectern is going to speak in public and needs all the support we can give them. Thank you so much. This group was amazing. You were terrific. You're going to learn how to use humor. And you're just on the first step. You're going to be great. Now, we have another member, Phil Russell, talks about living to be 150. And I always laughed at that, but now I want to be 150 just to see how that kid at the end turns out. My God, good job, good job.
And I believe some final comments from Kristen Badger-Bach. Bagels at the front desk and also coffee cake. Please eat up. There was lots of it over here. I'm sure you're hungry. Hopefully. And there is some walnuts. Be careful if you have a nut allergy in the coffee cake. Any other comments from the floor? Okay, I'd like to call this meeting adjourned.